What's up, Juventini? Welcome back to the AJC, your channel dedicated to Juventus, and it's Derby Day, the Derby della Mola today, Juve Torino. Hey, don't worry about EAFC 25. We saw what's going on there, okay? But that's actually become entertaining on a whole different front, okay? But we're going to tackle everything in the build-up to this
Wait.
game. We got the news. We're going to have a lot of fun today. And, of course, hey, our icon, the one and only, Del Piero, turns 50 today, okay? So we got to talk about the king of Turin himself. But we're going to have a lot of fun. I got Omer and Trim with me. Fellas, how you doing today?
Oh, Trim, go ahead.
Pretty good, pretty good. Can't complain. Derby days are always interesting, always fun. A lot of up and down results, mixed emotions. So it'll be a good game today. I'm looking forward to it. But yeah, just ready to kick it off. How about
There
you,
we
Omar?
go. There
How's
we
it going,
go.
man?
Omer, how you doing, brother?
I'm feeling awful, horrible. Like I have a stiff neck. I barely slept in the last 2 days, and basically, I think I'm going to die. The only thing that can save me would be a derby win. So let's get it.
How about a derby draw? Would that make you feel any better?
Put me in purgatory
Yeah, we can't be drawn. We can't be drawn
until
anymore.
after
Let's say the draws are all out of the way. Hopefully, Juve gets the victory for you, makes you feel a little bit better, and then do it for Del Piero. Hell, what are we talking about? King himself turning 50. We're going to say what's up to everybody in the chat here real quick. We got Yoro in here. Ciao, ragazzi. And then also throwing out there, we always do bad before national team games. Hope this will be different. Well, you can also say we don't necessarily kick things off after the restart. So
Yeah, after feels like
I feel like after's the letdown more so than
yeah.
before it. But I could be wrong. I don't know. It's just it's felt that way. But it'd be interesting to see the numbers on that one. Roast beef coming. Let's get screwed in for this derby. There you go. There you go. Calvin Joel. Sfido alla fine. Forza Juventus. Love it. Love it. And today really feels like the day Coat Miners gets his first. Hey, we'll talk about Coat Miners because he's been in a lot of discussions out there in terms of maybe a tweak. Maybe a tweak Motta should be looking to make. We're going to tackle that. Dragons, hey, ciao, everybody, and ciao, everybody else. Reminder, drop a like as you join us with this edition as we get the pregame going for the Derby della Mola. We've got some stuff in the news we got to tackle. Of course, the one and only Alessandro Del Piero. I see Juventus posting on their official account on Instagram saying, what is your favorite Del Piero era? And they went from 93 to 96 to 98 to 2003 to 2006 to 2009 to 2012. I'm going to pose you guys the question. What's your favorite Del Piero era? Why?
Oh, I think that the 2003 era. I don't know why. I think that was the time that I was mostly into Juve. That's basically everything I did. So yeah, and that's the time. But you can easily go to when he was younger. Some would call him the first star of the Champions League when the Champions League started, like the really big star. I've seen that in a couple of places. Yes, you can easily go everywhere. I mean, 2012, the 2011-12 was magical for me. Del Piero getting to lift another Scudetto before leaving. That goal against Lazio that basically won us
Yeah.
that Scudetto.
RB
Yeah,
Comp
but
saying 2012 because that's when started watching Juve. Matteo 2020 because that was my earliest memories of him at Juve. So essentially, right at the end. For me, it's interesting whenever you ask this question because I can answer it differently on any given day, having watched his entire career. Yeah, dating myself, but watched it from the beginning. So it's like 93, okay. So you got this young up and comer that's supposed to be this next big thing, and he's, subbing off incredible players coming on and showing you some incredible stuff. So it's like the promise was amazing and what he could show. That part was so, so cool. You get to 96, he wins the Champions League with us. Awesome. 97, 98, dude's up there for Ballon d'Or. Like, incredible. See, like, for me, hands down, the best performance-wise Del Piero ever. 97, 98 season when he's going head-to-head with Ronaldo R9.
And Zidane, yeah.
Yeah, that's insane for me. After that, 2003, it's cool because then you get a lot of newcomers, you get a lot of strong players, but he's like more the leader at that point. And it's a cool version of Del Piero. 06, well, then you get to 06 and it's the legend is,
Yeah.
it's strengthened even more because of what he did. Then you get 09 at that age and what he's doing, and he's still throwing down performances, carrying, not a strong roster, getting a standing O at the Bernabeu. And then 2012, he leaves us where he joined us. And just a fitting moment. My God, man, pick whatever. It was all spectacular.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Omar, different stuff. Like 2006 was more of a character moment for Del Piero rather than a statistical one. Starting off with, they brought Ibrahimovic earlier, so he was kind of the odd man out. Trezeguet and Ibrahimovic were the main guys. He kept quiet, just sat on the bench, took his opportunities, still had some goals. Then that tremendous goal after everything that happened with Juve in the World Cup, and then staying with Juve.
Yeah.
Afterward, that kind of solidified who the man is, let alone the player.
Yeah. It's take your pick. Take your pick. Trim, you got a pick though.
For me, yeah, I always kind of go back and forth between three of those eras, and I would say 97, 98, around that time, that's definitely my favorite era of him, just because, again, that's around the time when I started following. Mind you, I was a young kid at the time, but again, that was when I was young and impressionable. That's when I'm like really ramping up my fandom into Juve, so that season was obviously special. And then for the pure nostalgic vibe with that World Cup in 06, like that whole year was just phenomenal. And then to see him, like, it was just so fitting to see him get that goal against Germany, because like he's like the old buck, in that lineup, and he just comes on, and what a performance, and what a special goal that was. But again, can't take anything away from like 01, 02, and 02, 03. Like those seasons were just incredible as well. So I mean, like, again, like you said, Berto, no wrong answer here for sure. But for me, if I had to choose, I would choose strictly based on kits and kit era. I'd go 97, 98, because that was one of my favorite kits of all time.
I like the hair and sideburn combo 97, 98 too.
Yes, I was gonna say just the overall look, just
It
so
kills
badass.
me FC 25. Like, okay, besides getting away from the prediction jokes about that, but they're putting him bald in every friggin' game now too. Like the 2006 cut there from Cannavaro. You gotta cut that shit right now, FC 25. Okay, let's get the flow and locks the way we remember ADP. But yeah, it was awesome stuff. He was he's always will be. Nobody's ever gonna surpass him for me. He's my absolute favorite player, hands down. Now October ended. We get our MVP. By the way, if you haven't gone out there and voted for this guy to get Serie A Player of the Month for AFC, go and do it. But Chico Conceicao getting October MVP for Juventus. And on the daily update video, had to ask it, how big of a surprise has this guy been for you personally? So expectations and stuff, it's hard to go back to the Mercado. There was a ton of names thrown around. Everybody remembers what I kept saying was, I don't care about the other combinations. Make sure this guy is in on it. I just had a lot of excitement around this player. But I will also say he surprised me at how big of an impact in such a short period of time. It's even past my expectations. But Trim, how big of a surprise would you say Chico is for you personally, or is this exactly what you expected?
So what I would say is over the duration of the entire season, this is kind of what I was hoping. I wouldn't say I expect this, but I think the biggest surprise for me has been so far his consistency. I think we can maybe pick a handful, if that, like a couple of games where we're like, okay, he had a little bit of a dip. And I mean, I expected an inconsistent start from a new player because he's coming to a new team, new system. I again never doubted his qualities, but it's just more of we tend to, and we're seeing it with some of these other newcomers that we've acquired this year. They're a little bit inconsistent, right? And it's going to take them time to get their feet settled with Juve and the mentality and the way we play and all that kind of stuff. So I would say from the consistency standpoint, that's where I've been the most surprised. But in terms of his quality and his talent, I would say it's more of this is what I was hoping for.
All right, there you go. And Omer, surprising you at all?
Yeah, definitely a surprise. Absolutely. Like we knew there was talent there. We've seen him play for Porto. His name already came up. He wasn't an anonymous guy like Kvaratskhelia came out of nowhere. But still, I thought it would take more time to just assimilate himself into the Italian league and Juve and a new coach. But he came out of a cannon,
Yeah.
like immediately. Already has some memorable moments to him, and it's only been 2 months, 3 months. So
9 games
yeah,
played, 2 goals, 4
deserved,
assists,
super deserved,
584 total minutes played. Massive.
and a penalty.
Yes.
And a PK, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, the guy's been massive. He's been nothing short of a surprise. He seems like he has that mentality to him, and that special spark to be like a superstar. And I'm excited. We have him. I think signing him for 30 million at the end of the season would be a massive move for Juve. It would be a steal.
Yeah. Yeah. It does look like what's shaping up. And of course, we love the one thing that can make it go away. Players will. But man, he gave us everything we wanted to hear, and that's he wants to stay at Juve for many years to come. Beautiful, beautiful stuff there with Chico Conceicao. So congrats on October's MVP. The way he's been hitting it, wouldn't expect that to be the last time he gets an MVP of a month this season. So let's go. Hopefully the others give him a challenge and give him a run, because that means very, very good things for Juventus. Now, Vlahovic, best start of the season. Best start of the season for Dusan Vlahovic. Does it feel that way for you guys? And we'll start this one with Omer, because this is actually statistically his best. I think he's had 9 goals, 15 games through. You have some fans saying, well, the PKs are amounting for much. It's kind of stat padding, etc. But how do you feel about him? Does this actually give it the feel of the best start for Vlahovic to a season at Juventus, even though it is statistically, Omer?
It's weird you ask that. Not weird. It's interesting because it doesn't feel like it. But then when I think about it, does it just something about the stats? I think 7 out of the 9 is away goals. Some of them were very important.
Yeah.
But there's a lot to be desired. Like there were games where he could have easily won it for us, which I expected from a player of his caliber, but he didn't. And you know what? It happens. It happens to a lot of players. I've seen Haaland miss a lot of goals. I think I've seen Mbappe is having not so nice start at Real Madrid. So it's fine. I definitely don't think it's horrible. It is a good start to the season. It doesn't feel like the best ever. I don't know why. But apparently it is. So yeah, I'll take it.
Okay. And Trim, how do you feel? Does it actually feel like his best? So he's 15 matches played, 9 games, 9 goals, 1 assist, and played a ton, 1,222 minutes. Does it feel like his best start for Juve? Does this feel like it's been the best start out of the previous years?
So right away, the first thing that pops into my head when I think of this question is Parma and Cagliari. Literally just popped into my head in those two misses. So, you know, then there's the Leipzig brace where he played fantastic. So it's like UV Cornercast kind of summed it up well. He's very inconsistent, and I think that's why it doesn't feel like it's his best start statistically, because what jumps off the page is the sitters that he's missed. And to Omar's point, all the best strikers in the world have had those moments, but they're very few and far between because they've put up the production more consistently and they've proved it game in and game out. Whereas Vlahovic is it's been a little bit rocky this season, to say the least. So in previous years, I felt like he had started off better, per se, whereas this season it hasn't felt like that. But again, I'm a lot more patient with Dusan compared to most fans, I would say, in the sense that because I really do believe in the guy, but this year in particular was kind of like, okay, this is like a show me season because we know the situation with his contract. We know that Juve is looking into wanting to extend, but at a lesser salary. So we'll see what happens towards the end of the year if he's willing to lower it and if he stays or if he leaves. But as for his performance on the field, I would say, yeah, like the first two instances or first two games that popped into my mind when you brought up this question were Cagliari and Parma and those misses, and how much of an impact or how much of a difference maker that could have been if those balls go in the net. We could have won those games, and that's 2 less draws. And we'd be having a completely different kind of outlook on the season, I think, so far. But again, it's still early, and there's lots of time for him to make up for it.
It's tough. It's tough to really ignore the misses, but to some degree, you shouldn't be allowing a late goal against Cagliari and drawing that game anyways. That game's 1-0 up. Yeah, 2-0 seals it, but yeah, I don't really know. And also this thing about Vlahovic and like big games or doesn't show up, etc. I'm not buying that at all because like I said, it's moments. It doesn't necessarily matter about the opponent, but it's moments. More often than not, if you look at it historically and his goals, even if the guys that want to say, oh, he scored against weaker teams like last season or whatever, it's like, but what were the actual moments around the team at that moment in time? Because yet last season was an absolute shit show mentally for the entire group. You don't collapse like that otherwise. But this season, hey, he finds the first one against Inter there. He's money on the spot. He's right where he needs to be. Okay. What I also like is that as these games are going, there's less talk around him. There's it's more focus on the actual overall. Now we're actually focusing on the game itself. Why are we not creating enough opportunities? You have 70% possession now, and now we're starting to shine the light on what we actually need to. I'm still of the belief that, is he perfect? Absolutely not. No striker is. I'm still of the belief you pull another guy in here, the same different shortcomings, okay, for individuals, but I still think you have an overall issue that has to be solved, and that's the amount of useless possession this team has. No matter who you have up at the top, you have to find a way to make it all click, make it all work. I don't think you plug and play somebody else in there and all of a sudden we're off to the races. What I do like and appreciate about him is it feels different. It doesn't feel like his best start to the season, but I actually think if you look at the overall, it kind of feels like the best mentally, because I see like a different attitude, and knock on wood, because every time it feels like we take that turn with him mentally, it just goes right back into the same direction. So lately I've seen the fight. I've seen him start to kind of do a little bit more outside of just standing there with the last defender, trying to get more involved, trying to get into areas where he can help the group. It doesn't feel like the absolute best start, but there's other things there that can help us overall long term. I'm not sold this guy is the detriment to this Juventus. I'm not sold on that. I'm not sold
No,
on it.
when you're a Juve striker, you're always under the spotlight, and everyone expects you to be perfect. I mean, we were all over Moise Kean last season, and he was the third choice. So definitely the first guy on the team sheet. And when we have no subs, then it's always him. And when it kind of feels like when he does something good, finally, what we ask of him, then we complain about something else. We find some when he does score, then it is hold the play. When he doesn't score but assist, then it's his positioning. It's him sulking. It's always something that he's doing wrong. And yeah, he deserves criticism. But like look back at Trezeguet, Inzaghi, how much were those guys involved in the build-up? I mean, you can make a career for yourself just being at the wrong place, at the right
Well,
place at the right time.
that's just it, and that's why I laugh at, like, I don't laugh, but I find these comments funny because it's like, well, so and so could create his own goals. Vlahovic needs to create. That's not Vlahovic's game. So now all of a sudden, you're asking a guy to be. That's like literally grabbing Trezeguet and being like, dude, I need you to dribble all these guys and bury. What?
Yeah, it's
What?
not his game.
No. What are we talking about here? It's you can't ask a guy to do something that's just not part of his game. So again, we might have ourselves a situation where he doesn't suit Motta, but that's not, you can't just end the season at that and be like, oh, we're going to force feed this thing. That's why right now, the bigger issue is finding what works with him there now, because we don't have anybody else. So
Yeah.
what you want to
And
do in the future and move from him, etc., you got to do what you got to do. But right now, from what I see, he's not the biggest detriment, and we can find ways around it. That's just all I'm going to say.
And to RB Comps, my man, this is not a rant against you. You don't represent all the fans. I'm happy you were praising him after the Lille game. That's awesome. That's what the team needs. When I say people, I don't mean you. You have praised him. Others still had complaints. So what I said is, whenever he does great, and a lot of people applaud him for that, some would find what he did wrong. So it's nothing personal. I know you're a big critic of Vlahovic and you're always putting him on the spot. It's fine to ask that from your players. It's okay. This is not towards you.
The difference between Trezeguet and Vlahovic is that Dusan is supposed to be the main man. Trez wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
But Trez played striker with a 10 behind him. So, what if I'm looking at this roster too, like, main man, it means nothing. It means nothing. You have positions, you have roles. Guys got to do their job. I don't know. But I'm going to say this. The jury's still out on Vlahovic long term. The salary, am I with the salary? Everybody knows I'm against the salary. I'm just saying, there's a bigger picture here that I think gets missed way too often right now with the squad. And honestly, for a couple seasons and whatnot. He's got to turn the tide, but it can't be DEFCON 5 at every miss, right? Colt Miners missed an opportunity. I expect every player on this team to bag when you get in that spot. And it was fucking crickets. If it was Vlau, it would have been the end of the world. This place would have been on fire. Okay? On fire. Just, but there's bigger fish to fry for me right now.
Yeah.
Bigger fish to fry. We are going to move on because Vlahovic always gets everybody heated. It's all good. It's all good. Don't worry about it. Louise. Flop or too soon? Trim. Out again, by the way.
Yeah, this is starting to become pretty ridiculous if you ask me. Like I'm holding out hope for this poor guy because I just want to see his quality come through, and we saw what he did at his previous club, and the strides he made to become a great player in that league. But I don't know. it's funny. I had a conversation with a buddy of mine yesterday. We were watching Leaf game anyway, and he was like, "We have to get that training ground inspected. There's something wrong with our damn training ground." He's like, "Can we just tear it up and like redo the whole thing? Because the injuries is just it's unbelievable. Even with Nico, like it doesn't make sense. The guy was very rarely hurt, if at all, back at Villa, and now he comes here and he's hurt. And Nico Gonzalez, like it's just." Yeah, I don't know. So in terms of flop or not, I mean, I think it's fair. You know what? I have to go with everybody's popular opinion. I think it's fair to say it right now that he is for the time being, but I'm willing to still give him a chance because, I mean, I want to see him on the field. I want to see what he does on the field. The little that he's played, he hasn't played much. Like, I don't know. It's hard to make that.
Matt says Louise is getting dangerously close to objective flop territory. Omer. Flop or way too soon?
Yeah, that's probably a nice way to put it. I wouldn't call him a flop. I'd say he so far he has flopped. There's still a lot to the season, and it can all change in an instant. So far, he's been less than remarkable and less than what we hoped for. If Chico was more than what we hoped for, then Luis is definitely underachieving at the moment. Okay, not flop, but underachieving. I hope he can turn it around. I think there's a good player in there, and maybe I'll kick it off in his second season at Juve. Anything can happen, but so far, I don't miss him in the lineup.
The thing is, for me, it's way too soon to call flop. You got to see a guy in the lineup and getting good amount of reps and stuff. I still think back to when he was getting in the lineup occasionally. It's like you had some cameos where he was really showing what he could do. You had some cameos that were pretty flat. You had a bad start against Empoli. You had a couple other starts that had some really big mistakes in there. But overall, it's very, very hard to just flat out say flop because it hasn't even been half a season. And he's been inactive for now 30 days. This is day 30. By the way, he's had like a handful of injuries in his entire career. The last one was in 21-22 where he missed 31 days. That was the longest stretch he has been out. He's now at 30 days. So he's been clean bill of health from 21-22 until now. So what I find frustrating about all of this that I think would actually go a long way into also helping not just, newcomers to Juventus as players, even the guys that have been around for a while, but especially newcomers, a little more transparency on the situation involving injuries. Like, what actually is going on? Other than just coming out here giving very vague, generic statements with just like, oh, we think it's going to be this time. Just lay it out on the line. And we'll be, I'm sure, a hell of a lot more sympathetic for that player. And it would probably put him at ease. And he probably won't be reading half the shit he does on social media about what's going on around him. Is it that difficult to just offer a little more transparency? With Milik, you didn't even hear about the fact of what he was going through other than, oh, he's got a knee injury. It doesn't seem to be too bad. He should be back in about a month. To all of a sudden, oh no, like he needs surgery. He went and had successful surgery. That was the next update. He went and had surgery. It's like, what? He's supposed to be back like this week. All I'm saying is they can handle it a lot better, and I think it would actually help and benefit their players. Do you agree, guys?
Yeah, the lack of transparency kills us sometimes. Some of it I get, maybe they can't say it. Like, I believe Gonzalez is just a way of him getting out of the international break and just dragging it out one more so he doesn't have to go to Argentina again and come back. But with Luis, it's not the case. With Milik, it's definitely not the case. Milik is borderline like a broken toe. or something. It's been 4 months right now.
Well,
That's a long
it's been since the
injury.
Euros.
Since the Euro, yeah.
He was injured early in July, I think.
Yep.
They said 3 weeks. It's been 4 and something month right now. And do we have a date?
December,
No.
end of December.
End of December. So that would be 5 months. I think Chiellini came back from ACL faster than that. At 38 or something like that. So yeah, it's getting ridiculous. I want more transparency. I want to know what's going on with the players and how long we're losing them for, because it seems to be detrimental to Juve's season.
Yeah, I
Like,
just
we
don't
really
think it
are missing
helps.
those players.
Yeah, and I just like if I'm looking at a newcomer coming in here and you got to deal like why not just lighten it up a bit for them? Like it's not that difficult. Say, "Hey, you know what? Like this is the injury thing. It kind of sucks. It's a day-to-day thing that we're kind of monitoring, but the pain sometimes increases, so other times he's fine. Like just let it give us something to like just put people at ease or whatnot." And I mean, the pressure that's on these guys with these totals. So Douglas Luiz will have this thing follow him forever because it's at whatever it was, 50 something odd million that he was purchased. So now, knowing what we have, Trim, was it a mistake to go out and get Douglas Luiz? Because now this is strengthened even more for the fans that believe that all along we shouldn't have done that.
Yeah, well, and so it's funny because this can actually be a two-part question because it could apply to Nico as well, because I've seen it in the comments already about going out and purchasing Nico Gonzalez for 38 was a waste. So for specifically Luiz, I still say no, only because, again, I want to see this guy actually playing. I can't base it off of what I've seen so far. Yes, he's taken he drew 2 PKs for the opposing team that went in the back of the net. We dropped 2 points, 1 in each game because of that. It's I don't know. It's really hard to say based on what he's shown because he has not played enough for me to make that distinction yet. But for the price tag, 50, it's a lot of money, of course. But there's also people saying that Coop Miners is a waste of money at that. And I won't even start to get into that because that literally drives me insane that people are saying that already. So I would say no. At this stage, no. I need to see him playing healthy on the field consistently for me to say if he was a waste or not.
I still understand 100% what they did in the Mercado. You also offloaded 2 sales that help the rest of your Mercado as well in Barnechea and Illing Jr. I'm not at the point where it's like, oh my God, we shouldn't have done. Like, it still makes sense. And again, he had good accolades coming out of 2 strong seasons consecutively at the Premier League. Yeah, I have no problems with this. Nico is a different story.
100%.
Like I said, when you're talking about Douglas Luiz has had a clean bill of health since 21-22 on the back of 2 strong seasons at the Prem. Yeah, this one just got a little sideways. But Nico, maybe, just maybe, we should have caught on to this one beforehand. Okay, so with Nico Gonzalez, Nico since 2018 has missed 77 games. As a reference point from the same period of time, Dybala missed 90 and Chiesa 100. And we had injury concerns with both of those guys. He's not that far off. Definitely not that far off from Dybala there. To be fair, though, Chiesa's time off was mostly for one major injury. But this is kind of where the warning signs come up for Nico Gonzalez. Because since 2018, it's been 20 total injuries. From ankle to multiple muscular issues, adductor, knee, hamstring, fitness, a bunch of unknown labeled injuries. We might have gone against the grain there and maybe should have seen it because he didn't come on a cheap.
No. I think the price tag is what's always going to stick with Nico. Like, I remember all those summer Mercato shows that the three of us did, and we were putting out the names out there. Obviously, you see Zhigrova and some other wingers that were linked to Juve. I was not the biggest like let me put it this way: he was not at the top of my list for sure. He was somewhere in the middle. But again, I can understand why Juve went that direction. Someone who's playing in the league at the time currently did well, but again, it's the injuries, and I think we were concerned about that
I
for
had
sure.
no idea he had that much. I remember I always thought Castrovilli that had this big projection for him and stuff. He was always out, so I was like, oh, it's Castrovilli's like just injury prone. I had no idea Nico had so much, but maybe that one in hindsight, Juve should have paid a little bit closer attention to. But we'll see what happens. And Motta in the presser ahead of this game today. Everybody, what does he say? We'll see during the international break. So Luis and even Adzic. Adzic is out again. Had an issue yesterday in training. No Luis, no Adzic today. And they'll be back right after the international break. And with Nico, Motta simply says, we'll see. Transparency, everybody. We'll see. Now, we got to get to this game. Okay. You've got Torino coming in. Form never really matters with these things. Okay. It's going to be a dogfight. It's going to be a battle. We know form really means little in the derby, but Torino's coming in 1 win and 4 losses in their last 5 Serie A outings. Okay, they're missing some players too. That Duvan Zapata, Schurz on the sidelines. Further absentees, Ilkan and Sava, but they are kind of sweating on the fitness of Shea Adams. So he's kind of day-to-day, and we'll see. They're expected to line up in their 3-5-2. Obviously, you'll have Vanja Milinkovic-Savic in goal. Coco, Maripan, Massina, Pedersen, Ricci, Linetti, Ilic, Lazzaro, Vlasic, and Sanabria set to be up at the top there for Torino. For us, 2 wins, 3 draws, last 5. We've drawn 9 out of 16 home matches in the 2024 calendar year. It's time to get these matches at home turned into wins. Today, hey, we know the other marquee matchup happening this weekend. Big one for Juventus. Make no mistake about it. 3 points, absolute must. Absolute must, okay? When we talk about Juve and what we're expecting here in the lineup, we talked about it. No Luis, no Adzic. Nico, who knows what's going on there. But we're expected to see, again, a very, very strong lineup with Savona re-entering the mix on the back of a game where he got player of the match. Perin expected to be in goal for this one. Well, on one of the projecteds there, Perin. Savona, Kalulu, Gatti, Cambiaso, Locatelli, Thuram continue. Conceicao, Cope Miners, Yildiz, Vlahovic. Before I ask you fellas about that lineup, how you feel about it, one tweak many have said we should try is dropping Cope Miners back deeper in the midfield to start from there and move Yildiz into the 10. We actually spent quite a bit of time on this show post-match talking about it on the last podcast, saying maybe that would be better for the group overall. What do you guys think about the lineup? What do you guys think about that tweak? Would you run a tweak like that in this Derby della Mole or wait until a different match? Kick us off with your thoughts on this, Omer.
I need to see it. I think I need to see it first. I don't think it will be. I think he will do great because he's just a good player who's good in midfield, and his characteristics support that role. So that means either Yildiz goes to the 10, and Wea has actually been fine on the left. The question is, who are you dropping? Thuram or Locatelli? So far this season, it seems like Locatelli should be a lock in the midfield, so Thuram will probably be the one paying for it, although I really like what I've seen from him in recent games.
Yeah. I would
Um,
agree there, but Locatelli's been a
he's been
standout this year.
consistent. Yeah, he's been very consistent.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I wouldn't mind trying that at all. I think Yildiz in the few matches he had in the 10 role, he did actually fine. Yeah, I would try it. There's the international break, so you can go all out with the lineup. You don't have to consider Champions League matches and midweek games.
So you'd have no fear with the Derby, and you would run it today.
Yeah,
Give it a
the
shot.
derbies are never easy, but again, Torino missing Pershures and Zapata is big. Shures have
Yeah.
been massive.
Yeah.
He's been massive, and they had a great start to the season, and then it kind of word off recently.
Yeah. Like I said, 1 win, 4 losses, last 5.
Yeah.
This got to be 3 points for us, but I'd have no fear putting that out there. Trim, what do you think about it?
It doesn't feel like it hurt us in any way.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think our quality should make up for the fact that it's something different, specifically with that subtle change of putting Coop in an 8 role or a pivot role with Loca and then moving Yildiz to the 10. Like Omar said, definitely want to see it. I do partly agree with Hanin, though. I don't think it's the solution long term, but that will depend on, for me, more Yildiz than Coop. Because Coop can play anywhere in the middle of the park, so I'm not too worried about that. It's more of to get the best out of Yildiz. I know we've debated in this pod before, is he best suited as a 10 or a winger? Where is he best suited? I think long-term, Yildiz on the left would be the solution and Coop at the 10 once we're all firing on all cylinders and once Coop starts to feel good about himself. It kind of sounds strange because to get the monkey off his back and get that first goal, I'd obviously prefer to see him more advanced. I don't know if he'll get it in that double pivot role. However, that being said, all it takes is one. I feel like once he gets that one goal, gets the monkey off his back, he's going to start performing. But for the short term and the here and now, like today, I would definitely try it just to see, especially going into a break, you can kind of tinker with it because I think our quality will make up for it today.
I think it's just we've got a lot of midfielders.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't even say that it's not the solution long term. I mean, Yildiz will still get his reps out on the wing just from a rotational aspect. I think this guy just needs to be on the pitch. You guys know that's what I've said.
Mm-hmm.
Like, guys like that just simply have to be on the pitch. They'll figure it out, right? In terms of the midfield, if you're going to end up utilizing a guy like that predominantly as your 10, then you got to start finding ways to keep the rotation going and keep the others and keep it 1-for-1. So your combinations are going to be interesting. But the nice thing about having a guy like Cope Miners drop back is that that other spot could essentially be anybody. You can have Fagioli next to Cope Miners. You can have Locatelli next to Cope Miners. You can have Locatelli and Thuram. You can have McKennie's the interesting one when you get to a 2-man pivot because he's kind of his best when he can create some havoc moving forward and everything. So that one's a kind of interesting one, but I still think he could do it next to Cope or even a Locatelli. But yeah, it just gives you less rotation for a lot of bodies where we do have quite a few guys. But it's worth a shot. It's worth a shot. It also brings, I think the way Yildiz would interpret it, you get that guy constantly close to Vlahovic, but not just a guy with technical ability that should hopefully be able to, number one, feed him or even play off each other. Let's see what happens, but it's definitely worth a shot. We're not far off from this thing kind of taking that next step, hitting that next gear. A small tweak like this might go a long way. But Motta, as I've always said, he does focus defensively first. So having those midfielders in there is by design. Will he ever kind of stray away from that? We wait and see. But we all kind of agree it's worth a shot. So let's see. That's your projected lineup. We're going to go through key stats. We'll talk about the official. We'll get to predictions and then the best. Storm the barn. Let's go. Juventus have won 12. of their last 15 home matches against Torino, all competitions. Juve undefeated in their last 19 matches in Serie A. A lot of draws in there, but that's okay. Juventus kept 12 clean sheets during this run of 19 games in Serie A. Wow. Torino lost 5 of their last 6 in Serie A, okay? So we got to just take care of this. Who's the official? Let's take a look at who's going to be hanging on to that damn whistle today. And let's see what his numbers are all about. Juve Torino. Simone Souza. He has got 48 appearances in Serie A. Carries a 4.5 yellow per game average. 9 reds, 18 PKs in those 48 appearances, okay, in Serie A. All right. It's time to put our money where our mouth is, everybody. Prediction time. Final score, 2 tiebreakers. Trim, kick us off.
Okay. For today's match, I'm going to go 2-0 Juve. I'm going to say Vlahovic is going to step up and get a brace and really just put a stamp on the last little bit with these, up and down comments from the fans. I think he'll make a statement today. So I'm going Vlahovic brace, 2-0 Juve, and...
So wait. You're saying Vlahovic brace, right? That would put him on 11 goals on the 12th match day. I challenge everyone in the comments to find me who was the last striker to score 11 goals in early November for Juve.
Yeah. Well, he's got to go out there and prove it first. But,
yeah, probably Ronaldo, but still.
Yeah. That in more recent time, I would say Ronaldo. But yeah, Vlahovic brace, 2-0 Juve.
There you go. Omer, you're up.
I wanted to go with the 2-0, but he got it. So, we very rarely trash Torino. Like the last one I remember was like a 4-1 in the Sarri season.
Yeah, that's right.
Let's trash him.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah,
Do it.
yeah. Let's go 4-0. It's either that or a dodgy 1-0 win. But let's
4-0
go 4.
drubbing. Okay.
Yeah. Coop gets his first today.
Yes, love it.
Because we love our debut goals against Torino.
Yeah.
And
the birds are really fired up about that one. They like
they
that
love that.
Cold They're
been-
just ripping right now.
they've been fired up all week. It's like a bunch of hooligans out here just screaming all day. Yeah, so let's say Coop, let's say Dushan gets one, and someone from midfield and someone from defense. We'll have 4 different scorers today.
4 all different. Okay. So yours are done.
Cambiaso
All right.
gets on the score sheet as well.
So, FC 25 had Juve up 2-0. Had Juve again equalized by Torino with 2 goals from the 79th minute and then another one late. And then it had Vlahovic going off the crossbar in the 93rd minute and ending as a 2-2 draw. Should I keep that as my prediction, everybody? Because I said, you guys, after that one went sideways for us with Stuttgart, I said, hey, no more, taking a break. But you know what? I just can't help but give FC 25 one of these, okay? One of these. Forget it.
What's the deal with FC 25? I missed it.
I'm simulating the games for the prediction shorts.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
that's what they're coming up with, all the predictions. I haven't gone with any of theirs because they haven't predicted one positive result for Juventus. But all I'm going to say, I think this is a 1-goal victory for Juve. I think it's a 1-goal victory for Juve. I don't really see I don't really see Torino breaking us and breaking the clean sheet today. But all I'm going to say, 1-goal victory. And I will say that Cope Miners scores. I'm going to follow suit with Omer there. That's all I'm going to say for mine. Okay? That's all I'm going to say for mine. You guys have weighed in. We got a 3-1. Vlahovic, brace, Cope Miners, even calling Vlasic for Torino. We've got Pino going strong with the 4-0. Okay? Love it. George coming in here 2-1. We got 2-1 here. We got 3-0. And then Matt going mental, as he says, 5-0. 1 up in you, Omer. I like it.
Yes.
I like it.
Yes, I like it a lot.
There you go. There you go. But yeah, it's interesting. If Vlahovic does get a brace, like a few of you guys have called, hey, Omer just spotted. That's a hell of a start. That's a hell of a start. So we can't really get too down on that. And there's some big games, big goals in there too. And like I said, for a while now, he's been quietly going about his business. And you're starting to see more come out in terms of what he's trying to do, movement, fight. Let's just let it be. I like the direction it's heading. I want to remind you all, we got a watch along today too, okay? So I will be bringing you a watch along. We're going to be back 20 minutes before kickoff. And we're not done right now. We got to get to Storm the Barn. So first off, I got to ask all you, Omer, Trim, do you guys have a Storm the Barn that you want to fire in first? I have one, but I'm going to leave it up to you guys first if you have one. Otherwise, I'll fire mine away.
Okay, so from what we've seen so far, what's been the best trio in, like, between midfield and attack? Wingers and an attacking midfielder. What do you think is the best trio right now? Is it Chico, Yildiz, Coop Miners? Is it Chico, Yildiz, Wea? Is it Mbangula? Is it Nico?
Yeah,
if
the
you have
best
everyone
we've seen so far for me is Cope Miners, Conceicao, Yildiz, Vlahovic.
That was the best one so far.
That's the best one for me.
Like if you have everyone available, that's what you're going with?
I would try Cope Miners back and Yildiz in the 10 with Wea on the left.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. But, Trim, what would you do?
Yeah, it's hard to say because I haven't seen enough of Mbangula. Although when he's come in, I thought he's played pretty well. He's young, right? But it's easily Coop, Chico, Yildiz because they're the strongest 3 players. They have the most creativity. I think the chemistry is starting to build there as well. You can see it over the last few games, especially like in the Lille match. I thought they played really, really well, the 3 of them together. But again, I'm not opposed to dropping Coop back into the double pivot role and moving Yildiz into the 10 spot. But if everybody's healthy, I think those 3 for sure.
All right. There you go. There you go. I've got a Storm the Barn, but we're going to get to some of these first. I'm going to get to some of these. So Forza Juve coming in here. Oh, God, I love talking kits. Favorite Juve kit that you don't own yet?
Ooh. Oh, that's easy.
Omer, what's yours?
Easy for me. It's the black one from 15-16.
Oh, yeah.
One of my favorite, and I don't own it, yeah.
All right. Trim. Yet.
Ooh, okay. Well, obviously, I'm fortunate enough to have some. Not as many as you, Berto, but, I mean, I'm getting there. We'll get there.
Oh, eventually. Really? You don't have 250 Juve shirts?
No, but I have maybe, I don't even know how many, but it's not 250.
You're not a real fan.
There are so many good options, man. Oh, boy, that, like, the one that pops to my mind, though, like, right off the hop, it kind of jumps off the page is, I forget the year, but I want to say it's either 2021 or 21-22, that gray kit.
No, that's 17-18.
Oh, is it 17-18? Okay.
17-18 third kit. It's like a beige. It's like a beige gray kind of like a army type.
Was it
Yeah.
the first Ronaldo game? I think
I was gonna
he
say
wore that.
it was the first
No,
year.
he did. It might be 1819. 1819 because Ronaldo was there. It's
Yeah.
1819.
Yeah, it was 18,
Yeah.
19 because also it's
It's
the
like
black
it's
lettering
like
and-
yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah. Of course they
Yeah,
had it, the wardrobe. We
that's
can dress the entire Juve team for the match.
yeah.
today.
There you go. Yeah, that's the one that I don't know why.
Yeah.
I've always loved. Oh, and Mandzukic too to top it off. That's actually I got to get his kit. So I'd say that one, but also just player wise, not specific kit, but player wise, like I need a Tevez kit. He's always been my favorite player. Oh, he's got two to top it off. There you go.
Yeah, I need that one.
Yeah, that would
I
be
don't.
awesome.
Chiellini is top 3 for me, and I
Yeah.
don't have any shirt of him. I have this for the phone, but
There you go. Yeah.
that's
But yeah, that's one for sure. That definitely.
That's the
missed.
one thing with me. So I have 263, I think it's got up to now.
oh,
But
I
somebody
thought I exaggerated with
No,
250.
it's literally that. And
You were
somebody
short,
said, "Oh,
Omer."
that's every kit since whatever." I'm like, it isn't though, because like you just saw, I have multiples. Like 97, 98, I have 3, right? So I have multiples of certain years with different players on there. There's still a bunch I have. So my goal in collecting was always from the year I started supporting until present, having all of them. Favorite one I don't own, honestly, they're nothing crazy, but it's around the 2001 season. Obviously, one was the year of Cinque Maggio, but that black jersey had an alternate sponsor on there too. It had 2 Mobile. I want the home and that kit, that away with the 2 Mobile sponsor. I love that sponsorship on that kit. So that's one. 0506 is a spectacular kit, okay? But I want
the
it with
blue
the
and the red?
Champions League numbering on the back because it was completely different backing and numbers on the back for Champions League. So
Interesting.
those are kind of the ones for me. Very, very difficult. Very,
Yeah.
very difficult to find. But yeah, that's yeah. God, I love kits. Love kits. Love the kits. Now, Bino, Trim, if you could play on one Juve squad, which one would you pick?
Oh, geez, this is tough. So I was reading this question before you brought it up, only because I'm trying to think. So when I get posed these questions, I don't know. Maybe I overanalyze it, but I tend to think, okay, what position did I play growing up, and would I be able to boss out anyone that's played in that position? So I played as a left CB and a 4-man, which doesn't make sense because I'm like 4 foot nothing, and especially when I was younger. So anyway, as a left center back, I don't know who did I play with in that. Oh, in those years, it'd be tough. Like, I mean, the
Don't
obvious.
think about your position. Think about the composition of players in the team, the ones that
So
you
if
like
I'm
the
going
most.
based
and-
off of strictly that, I mean 15, 16, 14, 15, like that era with Pogba, Dybala, all those guys, like that's an easy one. But then of course you go a little more throwback, you go back to late 90s, Zidane, Del Piero. So I think if I kept it more current, I'd go like the 14, 15, 15, 16 era around there. Pirlo, like, I mean, it's just endless legends on those teams, right? But
Yeah.
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 What about you guys? If
Be
you guys,
honest.
Well,
Yeah, we
he asked
answered
this
it.
question. I believe he asked us on a previous show and whatnot, and I think I was torn between a couple sides because I wasn't sure if I was going to play with Zidane being in there as one of my favorite midfielders, or if I was going to go like 2003. There's also 2005 with one of the 2005, 2006 with one of the best sides we've probably ever assembled. It's tough. It'd be there. I lean towards the 90s though. 97, 98, maybe 2003. It'd be one of those. Be one
great
of
teams,
those.
though.
Yeah, for me, it's like 2003, 2006, and 2012, but 06 wins it for me easily just because of the players that were on the roster. It's all my favorite ever players, including Chiellini, Buffon, Del Piero, Nedved, Zambrotta, Cannavaro, Thuram. I mean, Trezeguet,
Unreal.
Ibrahimovic. That's insane. Just I would do anything. I'd play any
Yeah.
position they'll ask me to.
Yeah.
And yeah, but
I love
honestly, you can throw me in with Valery Buzhinov and Zdena Grigera. I'll be fine. Whatever Juve team you want, I'll play for them.
I love how Forza Juve's trying to do the math on my kick collection there and what I've spent. That's not exactly how it works
Yeah.
because there's little tricks to the trade too. Like for
Yeah.
instance, if you know a kit isn't gonna hit it off, you wait, you buy it on discount like later on in the year or whatever, you add it to your collection. Also all the older stuff, you can find deals here and there on some retro sites and everything like that. So it's not quite
When
that
you
insane, I'll tell you that.
when you steal them, it's free. That's nice.
What's that?
When you steal them, they're free. So
Yeah,
probably
I
have some
haven't
of
stolen any. I have been gifted quite a
Yeah.
bit though because
not on purpose.
people that
Yeah.
have found out that I'm a Juve fan, and it was funny. I've had a couple of buddies showed up to my work, and he's like, "Here, man." He gave me a bag, and I was like, "What is this?" And he's like, "It's a bunch of Juve stuff I found at like my brother's place and whatever." And I'm like, "What?" I open it up. It's like kits from the '90s. There was like 5 or 6 kits in there, 2 Kappa jackets. I'm like, "What?" Unreal. So yeah, you get some gifts too. Now, favorite derby memory of all time.
Okay, can I twist this question a
You can
bit?
do whatever you like, man.
Favorite derby memory of all time, excluding the Pirlo goal.
Oh man.
That's the
Of
obvious
course.
one, right? Yeah.
Yeah, so I would probably go with Enzo Maresca, the Toro celebration, iconic. Yeah, that's one of my favorites. There are tons actually, but yeah, that one sticks out for me. I don't know why. Just classic childhood
We had a
memories, maybe.
really late one with Quadrado too, didn't we?
That's the one I was
Yeah,
gonna pick.
I loved that one. That one was
Yeah.
sick. It's
Yeah.
always
where
good getting them late too in there if you have like just winning them, but that one would probably be one that's up there. Yeah, other
Mhm.
than Maresca, but the Pirlo one for sure was just that goal. That goal was ridiculous.
Yeah, that's an easy
Unbelievable.
answer for the three of us.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Easy,
That's
easy. Now,
Yeah.
told you guys I had one. We saw the values been brought up by, CIES football on U21s, and Keenan Yildiz was brought up at 72.3. Good enough to put him in the top 10 with these other U21s, okay, on these values. Ain't nobody coming in with 72.3 million for Keenan Yildiz, okay? We know that. But we got to have some fun with this. The kid don't cost us much at all on the books. Let's say in a year's time, 90
Mhm.
mil is offered to you for Keenan Yildiz. Do you accept that? We're
I don't know.
talking insane capital gains, right?
Yeah, it means he was having 2 great seasons. If he's still worth 90, that's a tough one.
90 mil is the hypothetical here. Yildiz in 1 year's time. We got a no from George immediately. We got Matt. Nope.
I'm leaning towards no. Like, I think the days paying 90 million for Anthony and all those guys are done.
And Pino's
And
saying yes, 90 million. Sorry, he's like 90 million.
yeah.
let's wait and see.
I think for
And
me personally, like, yeah, I would right now say yes, only because I mean we've seen it happen where guys have gotten purchased and then they go somewhere else and haven't really, gotten off on a good foot and they just start to tail off a bit. Not saying that's going to happen with Yildiz. I hope he stays and proves me wrong and increases his value further. But I mean, if someone came with 90 million, I think Juve would strongly have to consider it. It's just, I think for me, it's the emotional side of it, trying to take that out of the equation. Like, I grew up loving Del Piero, the team, all that. It's the, like I said, the emotional, romantic side of things that make it hard. But I mean, when somebody slaps 90 million on the table, you gotta take it.
It's so
You don't
tough
have to.
because
You don't have
obviously,
to. Sorry, yeah, you don't have to.
obviously, you want that to just be like our guy. Like we picked him up for nothing, taking him from Bayern's academy.
I wouldn't sell our number 10 that easily. If he's been doing great for 2 years and his value is up to 90 million, he's been good for you, but that's why it's not easy for me. If he has too bad or mediocre season, no one's paying 90 for him.
Like if he's legitimately getting 90 mil offers, like he's got to be blowing the damn roof off the place, like
Exactly.
to an insane degree.
Yeah,
But like
for sure.
another thing is maybe he isn't, and a team like maybe he's still doing well enough, and a team's like, okay, no, like this is the next big thing. Like it's a couple years under his belt, like it's time to take him, and he maybe also is okay with maybe taking, a different approach, different outlook, different spot. 90 mil would really depend on where we're at as a roster because that's like almost all profit. It pretty much is all profit, like other than less than 100K we're talking, you guys. That's insane what you could do instantly with that 90 mil in terms of players. But
Question is, how
wanna
important
keep
will he
him.
be?
Yeah.
My instant gut reaction is kind of the similar to Omer. If he's getting that, he's killing it for us. I would also look at what other sales are possible for us to strengthen the roster. The biggest thing has to be the roster strength. If you don't need to move him and he's getting that, I'd probably like to keep him because that means we did something right. We got this young guy for next to nothing at an academy level and brought him up the whole way. But that's also the ultimate payoff for what you just did.
Okay, so let's look back at a time where already did a thing like that and look back at Pogba and how that worked out. And if you feel now that selling him for what was then a record-breaking transfer, was it the right thing to do at the time for Juve, for Pogba, for everything, basically?
Well, we literally dumped it all on Higuain.
Higuain and Pjanic, those were the
We
guys.
literally dumped it all on that, and like that put us. We were still pretty damn close, and we did reach a final.
Yeah, I think for Juve it was a no-brainer. For Pogba, the player, was not the right.
No.
But that's also different too because Pogba wanted to go too. He wanted to go back. Wanted to prove himself. So it's not apples to apples.
Right.
Yes, and the team backbone was a lot stronger, and you could gamble away Pogba and still have that amazing defense and Dybala and Mandzukic and all those guys. So yeah, there are different levels to it. In general, if he's doing great and he's important, I'm not selling him for 90.
It's just interesting to see where everybody is already thinking ahead about that. But like I said, 72.3, nobody's offering 72.3 right now. What do you think his actual value is right now, though? Everybody in the chat, what do you think he actually is? His value should be right now at this moment in time?
I would say based on age, height, I think 35 max would be a reasonable price for a 19-year-old.
These guys are not far off what CIES put out there, 60 to 70, 70 to 80. Galodro coming with 50. Trim, what do you think? We got 40 to 45 from Pino.
I'm probably overvaluing him then in this case, just because what Omar's number was I thought was a little low, but I mean it is fair. It's just everybody's valuation is different. I was thinking, like between 50 and hoping for 60. Just because I do feel like the right big clubs, like a Bayern, for example, they regret obviously selling him and losing out on him. So I feel like if we did put it at a 50 spot, 50-55, like I feel like they would definitely offer that. So I think between 50 and 60, and hoping for 60 on the high
40,
end.
40 seems to be this threshold for like young guys on decent seasons, that like 40 seems to be this threshold for like, okay, younger prospect, good projection, high potential, but like it's already got some brilliant moments to him. Like I said, this season, even when media was trying to play this narrative about none of shots and all this, whatever, he does more often than not the right thing on the ball, and he is so damn good on the ball. 40's like your like Kulishevsky price, coming from there or whatnot. 50
And he
mil.
wasn't
I'm
worth it.
comfortable with 50 mil on Yildiz right now. 50 mil. Not saying I'd sell him for 50 right now, but I think his actual value is not 72.3 there. I think it's 50. I think his actual value is 50. If you ask me if somebody came knocking right now, I would actually go higher than what CIES put at 72.3. I'd actually go 80. If you're asking me right now, it would be 80. Just because this guy has crazy, crazy potential. And again, who knows what could happen if we maybe try to just make that tweak of him in the 10 role. Let's see. We got time for a couple more. Storm the Barns. Keep them coming. Which player do you anticipate will show the most significant improvement this season, and why?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Well, it means we have seen him before. I don't know why I'm leaning towards Savona, but I haven't seen him before. It was just a really nice surprise. And he doesn't seem like he's a youngster playing with adults, which is the case for some of those guys. Even in Bangula and Rui, you saw it's not the big boy game right now. But it doesn't seem to affect Savona. I think he's going to do great this season. Already got his first call up for the national team. Significant improvement.
So, what are we talking about? Are we talking about guys this season? Because like the question, the way it's laid out, which player do you anticipate will show the most significant improvement this season, and why? So, starting from like right now until the season's end, who will have the biggest improvement? That's how I'm kind of taking it. Because if we're going from moving into this one, Locatelli has been insane for me. And Gatti has shown a lot of improvement, arguably the most.
Yeah, both of them are great.
I'm going to go from now until season's end. Who's going to have the biggest improvement? I actually will stick with who we were just talking about, and I actually think it's going to be Yildiz.
Okay.
And if you want to ask me why, it's because I think he's starting to show me, and I said like maybe we got to ease up on expectations and just how much he's going to influence and impact everything. But like I said, he's showing that more often than not, he gets it right. And on the ball, he is so strong. He's so good. I think he's going to figure things out more and more as the games go on, that it won't matter if you play him on the left or you play him on the 10. He's going to figure out how to do his damage and be that guy. I'm going to say it's going to be Yildiz. Trim?
So the first name that popped into my head when we were reading this question was Locatelli, and it's just strictly based on what we're seeing now is what we've expected from him the last handful of seasons, and since we got him from Sassuolo. He did start off decent with us in the first season, and then it just kind of tailed off, and we won't dive too much back into that with the previous manager and all that stuff. But for me, it's definitely hands down been Locatelli. He's just been far and away, if not the best, or one of the best, the best midfielder we've had so far this year. I mean, Coop, we know we can easily say will be that guy once he, like I said, for me, once he gets that goal, the monkey will come off his back and he'll just be unleashed. But it's the other parts of his games and the other aspects of his games that have been been shining through. And with Locatelli too, he's the general there, man, in the middle of the pitch. He's running directions and plays. He's hitting those long balls, those switch field passes. Like he has just been so solid for us. So for me, I can easily say it's Locatelli. Gatti close second, I might add.
I think both of them are really good
Luiz
answers.
coming in here from Mori, but jokes aside, hey, there's nowhere to go but up. So it's been so bad that he could easily see the biggest improvement simply by getting in, doing something. My God. Now, rumors surface around even not just him, but like Alicia and a potential leave in January heading back, but no strong sources there. So we just wait and see. Speaking of international duty, as that came up in this last Storm the Barn, so Gatti, Cambiaso, and Savona getting his first call up to the national side. Make no mistake about it, Locatelli not getting the call up is nothing but personal from 100%. Spalletti.
Yeah, it's embarrassing.
Flat out. Yeah. Okay? Flat out. Fagioli not going in there makes sense to me because honestly, he's been hit and miss since his last Azzurri outing. Didn't have a positive showing for the Azzurri, and then he's been a mixed bag with us in the showings that he's got. He had 2 really good performances, and then he had 2 really flat ones. Locatelli, though, it's actually ridiculous because he's playing fantastic football, and he's doing all the things everybody that criticized him for wouldn't do it. So the fact that you could sit here and like Matteo saying, I don't know what Loca has to do to get a call up, it's personal. It's personal. Make no mistake about it. And you know what? Spalletti, you might have to call him up at some point because I'm not sold on... I can't even tell you who one of the names is there in the midfield. He also took 75 defenders. So take it with a grain of salt that, Savona gets the first call up there, but he is doing well. Some Juventini believe way too early, but I don't expect much to come out of it this go around. Locatelli to not get in there is actually ridiculous, and I would expect nothing less from Spalletti, who has shown time and time and time and time again about just how personal he makes it with players. That's just me. And Rovella, as Adam says, Rovella deserved the call. Rovella's been solid for Lazio. But he is not playing to the level of Locatelli.
That's the thing. Putting him ahead of Loca would be...
And then there's Ricci, who's good, but again, not at that level over the course of time. And the third, like I said, the third name, come on.
It's comical. Like I got why Spalletti did that before the Euros.
Yep.
And in the early cleanup, fine, you're looking for a different kind of player for your system, so you rather take Fagioli, who's been out for a season, and rip that Band-Aid off early and not like a week before the Euros. I get it, but now, after Italy has been shambolic, to say the least, in the Euros, and Locatelli's been having the season he's having, I mean, at least in the roster, you don't need him. You don't need to have him in the starting lineup, but at least have him in the roster. I mean, those are the kind of decision you pay for.
Guys, in the long run, it's better for us, and like we always said, who gives a shit about nations?
Yeah. Having said that, I don't want him getting injured, stay in Turin. I don't care about the nations.
Don't take Gatti, don't take Cambiaso, don't take
anyone.
Keep them all.
Take Foraruncio, take all those ridiculous guys from Verona and such. I'm fine with it. It's Nations League.
Yeah. And Forza Juve saying, Berto, we need you to Te Spalletti, and I'll always oblige. So, all right, let's go. Guys, we've got any final Storm the Barns? Chat, last call. I got to go. I got to get ready for this derby. The watch along. Stoked to get back on the watch along. Then we got international break, okay? But Yeah, big one for us. Gotta come out. Hey, what have we been talking about? Keys to success for Juve in this one? Right.
Start on
Yeah,
time.
right off the hop. Okay?
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
God damn it, everything you do it with conviction. Go at them. We talked about key absentees for Torino, potentially 3, because the third is day to day. You've got to jump on them right from the start. Okay? I like the lineup. Like we said, the only thing we're thinking about is a solution long term and maybe making a tweak there at the 10 role, but who he's planning on starting and following up, that's going to be close to 3 games in a row. Get it going. Get this chemistry going, get clicking. Maybe today is when the floodgates open. Omar's got a bit of a wild one there with the 4 goals. Matt came in here on the live with a 5-0. I hope you guys are right. But
Let's do it.
all I want is the win, and it has to be a win for Juve. In the other games, should we just take a peek? Should we just take a peek here? We know you got a couple shitheads playing.
Oh,
Okay.
Mhm.
In the other marquee matchup right now, Venezia and Parma 1-1. My
Parma.
God, I can't believe we drew Parma. Okay. Cagliari and Milan will be before our derby. And Milan sits obviously 4 points below us, so nothing critical with that one. But Atalanta and Udinese
with a game in hand.
right.
with
The makeup game.
Yeah. So game in hand. Atalanta Udinese. Atalanta's expect to get the 3 points there. That would actually take them on to 25 points, where Napoli is currently at. We know Napoli and Inter set to go at it tomorrow. You've got Lazio facing Monza away from home. Lazio 1 point up on Juventus currently. You've got Fiorentina 1 point up on Juventus currently, and they're going to be playing Hellas Verona, hosting them. Fiorentina's been absolutely red hot. They went through October undefeated, all wins, and they added a win in their last match too. Like, they are just absolutely red hot. So Verona, with them, 4 wins, 7 losses so far this season. Fiorentina being at home, they're expected to get the result there. Inter and Napoli. Inter hosts Napoli, a big clash there. What do you think the result's going to be, lads?
I think Inter is winning it.
Think Inter pulls it out there?
Yeah.
I kind of feel they will too, which would take them to 27 points. Juve gets the job done today. We'll be at 24 points, ultimately putting ourselves 3 points out of top, which going into that break would be good. And then, of course, we have Milan immediately after the break ends. I would take that 3 points off the top going into the November international break. But Trim, do you think Inter's winning that?
You know what? I actually, Inzaghi, Conte, I don't know. I'm smelling a 0-0 or 1-1, like a 0-0 draw, 1-1, something like that, because I could just see it's either going to be just a brutal 0-0 draw where it's just so defensive, nobody's taking chances, or somebody goes up 1 and the other team counters, gets 1 back, and then they just sit back and they just take the point and settle for that. Like, that's what we expected from our match with Inter, and it was the total opposite, but we still drew, right? So that's just the sense that I get, and obviously, selfishly for Juve, that's the result, the best result for Juve, because each team gets
then we'll and again, as long as we take care of business, 2 points out of top going into the November break. But I just have a feeling Inter wins. Inter wins it. Don't be surprised if you see any controversy in that game either, everybody, and if it happens to go in favor of somebody. Just saying.
Who's the referee for that match? I'm willing to throw out a guess.
Pen Inter pretty soon, because every game they get a pen.
Yeah, it's not the very. It's Mariani. Didn't we have him recently.
Doveri.
Right. Very.
Well, we'll see what those mutts do. First, we got to take care of business. Omer, Trim, absolute pleasure as always. You guys, let's see if we get another beautiful Derby della Mole memory to add to the list today. It's Del Piero's 50th birthday too. So let's make sure we get the 3 points for the king.
Is he coming to the stadium?
That would be a bad sign. So I don't know.
That's a bad sign. I hope he doesn't.
Because that's always a bad sign when he's there.
away.
But hopefully not. It sucks we have to say that. But man, the record is not strong with old ADP there. But the curse has.
On the other hand, yeah, we need to turn it around.
You got to break it at some point. We can't have this guy away forever. Okay, so hopefully we do that, and maybe that could be the big feather in Motta's cap if he breaks that one. Okay,
maybe they should start inviting him to like games against Venezia and such, and stop inviting him to the big games. Start off from there.
Yeah, imagine we just keep drawing. Jesus. That can't happen. Hopefully not today. 20 minutes before kickoff, everybody. I'm going to see you again. There is a live watch along, so hope to see you all there. You guys do whatever you do, whatever rituals, okay, whatever superstitions you follow. Get it done because we need the 3 points. Has to be 3 points. We'll see you all in a few hours. As always, no matter what, fino alla fine, forza Juventus. Ciao tutti. Take care, everybody.
Dart on time.